Alex, the New Age movement, very popular these days, endorsed by people like Oprah Winfrey, Eckhart Tolle, and a lot of people pay attention. Tell me about the New Age movement.
It's very difficult to explain because, as you know, it brings in Eastern religions, Western religions, metaphysics. So it's very eclectic. It's basically a mishmash of many, many different religious thinking. There is no authoritative doctrine. There's no authoritative book. There's many, many authors. There's no authoritative figure. Again, a lot of people chiming in, and there's this long menu. You can pick from whatever you like. Now, that said, there is three principles that do seem to stream through all of them. The first one is pantheism, the second one is karma, and the third one is self-actualization. What are these? Let's start with pantheism. Pantheism is this idea that everything is God, that we are part of God, that this chair is part of God, that we are all gods. A couple problems with that. The first one is, if in fact everything is God, then God is evil, because we know there's a lot of evil in the world. They explain this away by saying that evil is just an illusion. Of course, tell that to the woman who just lost her 9-year-old daughter to the shooting in Arizona. It is not just illusion, it is a real category, and we know that biblically. Next, experientially. Am I God? Do I have the qualities of God? I can't even create anything. I can rearrange atoms, but I don't have the ability to create anything. Secondly, I have very little control over things. I can't control the pimple on my face. My 10-year-old daughter, I have very little control over her. So this idea that we are gods experientially just doesn't make sense. Number two is this idea of karma. Let me just mention a couple things about that. There's 6 billion people in the world today. 20 years ago, there was 5 billion people in the world. What are you working off in your first life? In other words, this is this idea that we are trying to be a better and work off our bad karma. On your first life, what are you working off? I don't know. They can't answer that question. It just doesn't make sense. And then there's this question of, how much do I owe? If I'm in this cycle of karma, birth and rebirth, when I go to my bank to check my statement, they tell me how much I owe the bank and what my interest is. In this particular case, we have no idea of where we stand at any given time. So it's problematic. Finally, self-actualization. That is this idea that my morals, my reality, my truth is within, not without. I look internally for truth. Now, Western tradition, morality has always been something outside that restrains our inclinations, our self-destruction. That morals are outside and we follow those morals and it restrains us.
Absolute truth.
Correct. In this particular case, I can invent my own truth. What happens when you invent your own truth? What any logical person would think, it leads you down the path of self-gratification and self-destruction. So a couple of issues there, a couple of problems with it. Now, it's called New Age, but it really is an old hoax. Let me read from Genesis chapter 3, verse 4. Then the serpent said to the woman, "You will not surely die, for God knows that in the day you eat, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil." There's a New Age movement right there. Old Testament, been around for centuries. There's nothing new about it. It's an old deception.